Parniki is a Russian term for greenhouses. We grow in artificial spaces. We are isolated, but we are always connected. Everything is connected to something, but nothing is connected to everything. Indoor gardening is a metaphor for self-growing. The myceliums and roots grow as our neural connections. We grow in an uncertain, encapsulated environment. Have we always been in a flesh capsule? Or companion species flourish and die next to us? We fertilize new relationships, dialogue with those entities that were previously overlooked. We change our creative processes, and we look for the indoor freedom.
Abandoned garden is the garden where nature prevails over culture. Abandoned garden requires a prefix post or alter. Garden not cultivated is an alien minding oneself, or oneself feels an alien in it. Closed garden, unreachable as paradise, sacred as the garden of Hesperides, where the apples of youth are. The garden is at a distance, unreachable as the past. The beautiful green plants of memories, where once feels happy in retrospective.
St. Petersburg was built on swamps by the human will of Russian Tsar Peter I. Water shapes and constructs this city. Rivers and channels affects this climate, colors, street system, architecture, rhythms, and the mythology. We usually see river as a surface, but it has a depth within which underwater gardens grow. Those gardens are usually invisible to us. They don't have still shapes, they are fluid. I suppose it's important to rethink the idea of the garden in this local context. We need to invent new access modes to the city aquatic ecosystem and to reattune to each other with help of artists and scientists.
A lot of people think that post-non-human era is a far future, but the truth is that new modalities are rising right now. We are becoming different because of someone non-human agent is appearing beside us. Our relations with the world and nature are being vitalized, growing and blossoming as a flower of music. An artist is the first person describing as proud of this new entity, even before it comes into this.
So good morning, everyone. We are happy to welcome you to the Pangardenia, and Pangardenia is a Kepler's garden in St. Petersburg. So probably I will start by expressing our gratitude to people who helped us a lot and institutions that helped us a lot. And this is a Core Future Lab and Itmo University and Air Gallery. So Pangardenia is a project that is made up of 4 paths. So they are parniki, which means that artists are at their home, and this word means indoor capsule gardening in Russian. The abandoned gardens, which are the semi-closed universities and other institutions. And so here I'll probably name the institutions that are our partners. So that would be St. Petersburg State University, and there are several parts of St. Petersburg State University that are involved in our project. So that's College of Liberal Arts and Sciences and their beautiful, beautiful garden, the Botanic Garden and the Herbarium of St. Petersburg State University. And we also have the Botanic Garden of the Forest Technical Academy. And we also used the Garden of Art Media Center and ITMO, which I mentioned above. So I talked about Parniki, I mentioned the abandoned gardens. The third path is wandering gardens. And it is a very special thing. It is a site-specific artistic boat trip in collaboration with boat drones, artists, and scientists. And post-non-human gardens, this is the speculation on the new types of life forms combining both human and non-human agent. So we are doing 1 path a day. So today is the Parniki path, which is going to follow our talk. So I'm going to introduce our team here, and these are probably the most important people in the project. So I'll start with Artur Konstantinov, whose idea it was to do it all together, and whose concept we were carefully and actively and artistically developing during this 4 months of the preparation of this project. So that's the curator. I'm also a curator and an artist, and my name is Natalia Fedorova. This is Laura Rodriguez. I don't know how you will understand which this is, but it says that it's Laura Rodriguez. That's how you'll probably understand. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Laura, for waving. Now people know that this is Laura Rodriguez. So Laura Rodriguez is a co-curator and also a bio artist. In this project, you will see her work in the gallery stream a little bit later. And the last but not the least, probably person who did unexpectedly to her did as much work as you can't even imagine how much work she did, and she also did it. So this is Anna Kozlova, our co-curator. I think I'll, okay, and we have one more person, which I didn't mention. This is Natalia Kur. I was mentioning Core Future Lab in the very beginning. So this is the Natalia Kur of the Core Future Lab. And this project would also be not possible without her support. So Artur, you're welcome to continue.
So hello, let me tell a bit about our concept. I'd like to tell that in this year we have different topics, and we decided to say about uncertainty and autonomy, because in my opinion, uncertainty and autonomy are distinctive features for today's pandemic life in lockdown. So our lives, they grow from the middle now, and we no longer have strong connections to the soil through roots, and we are not entirely immaterial cloud-based creatures also. So this is a life between meta and data. And in fact, people have always lived in the gap between the material and the virtual. But in previous times, the virtual, so imaginary dream was not so real as today, when it became more real than reality itself. And the balance between real and virtual has moved to the center, to the middle, and both poles have become an equal weight and significance, and it provokes a sense of uncertainty. So one author who inspired me in this concept was Timothy Morton, and his idea about informational dump mode. This is the way for us, for people, not to relive the experience of traumatic data. And I think that our project is about how to learn to relive and integrate data back into personal experience, and thus integrate it into the collective experience also, and expanding it to planetary scale. And Pangardenia is an aspiration to relive through data, and ambition to reconnect the virtual and the real. So Pangardenia is a kind of natural chimera, embraces panic sensibility of the wild and guarded gathering of the garden and gradina, elemental and structural, growing and digital. What can be a fruit in these liminal gardens? How can we explain gardens to non-human agents? And how can we mediate smells and touch to AI, for example? How collecting data from real gardens can help us to cooperate with nature and technology and combine it in new symbiosis, maybe.
So now I would like to talk a little bit more about the pathway of Parniki, that is for today's pathway in the inauguration of the festival. And as Natalia said in the beginning, Parniki is the Russian word for greenhouses. And this is an artificial enclosed space. So it relates very closely to the moment that we are living now in isolation, and how the pandemic affected different of our activities as an artist and curators. And that's why we are now in this online environment connecting with you. And it is also very close for St. Petersburg, because we have a cold climate, kind of less natural light. So we need to create this artificial climate to grow most of the plants. So during this pathway, you will see artworks of the artists that were created during this isolation and lockdown inside their homes. Also, how they start to relate with the plants and the non-human entities inside their house, because now we were spending more time with them, and they become somehow more important. These usually overlooked species start to be our companion species. And for example, today we will have different streamings of artworks and talks of how the artists were creating these pieces inside their home. For example, we have an artwork from the artist Natalia Balabanova, and she's talking about her relationship with 500 petunias that she grew inside her home, and how this relationship with all these petunias affect her daily life. And in the end, the artwork that you will be able to appreciate in the gallery and in the mediation online later is called Petunias Are a Girl's Best Friend. And you will be able to enter to a space where all the petunias become part of a green screen, taking power of the space and breaking some boundaries of the same room where you are. And also, as a product from this relationship with the petunias, she created a manifesto or a contract in order to communicate and live with these other entities.
So this, all the artworks that you will see in this pathway is a new relationship with entities that lay in the philosophical statements of posthumanism, when we have different relationships with the plants or the worms in our gardens or the pets that live with the artist. In this direction, we have the artwork of Katja Iskevich that you are seeing now in the screen. And as she mentioned, she presents a kind of a reality show where these basil plants are fighting to survive, but they are also interacting with the artist, and she's looking for the answer of a simple question of how to live together. So she makes different lectures, summarizing some of the readings from Barthes, the lectures that he gave in the College of France. And this is a different approach of how to relate with the organisms that we were locked down together during this pandemic. And finally, we will be invited inside the homes of the artists to see how they were living during isolation, what they were working with, their companion species. Here we have Victoria Ilushkina showing her beautiful cat and the dreams of the cat. So I hope you can join during the whole lectures. And tomorrow we also have the second pathway that my colleague Natalia can talk more about it.
So the pathway that I've already started introducing and I'll continue to introduce is abandoned gardens. And there is a certain controversy in these abandons since they were closed when we started to work on the project, and then some of them were open, some of them were semi-open. And we decided that this controversy is actually is enveloped in the concept of garden. So garden is something which is guarded and closed from the rest of the world. And that's why the paradise is unreachable. That's why the sacred garden of Hesperides is unreachable. So we can think of metaphysics of the garden, and the metaphysics of the garden would be the limit, the border that it has from the rest of the world. And on the other hand, the garden is a space of attentive growing, a space where the assisted growing can be performed, and the space of including nature in human needs and in human aesthetics. And actually, the works somehow managed to touch on all these three features of the abandoned gardens. So the work of Victoria Ilyushkina and Maya Popova is contemplating on the possibility, or rather impossibility, of the new paradise. There is some kind of sympathy to the plants that grow in gardens and parks, and this sympathy is realized in Garden 4470 by Tata Garian and Andrei Rylov. So why sympathize the plants that grow in parks and gardens? The studies of the ecosphere of the forest ecosystem of the forest has proved that the forest is actually a communication system on very many levels. So what the trees do, they support each other. They support each other through roots, and they also support each other through microorganisms. They probably sounds quite crazy, but they send each other signals. There is also a special relationship between the grown-up plants and their children. This is not exactly care, but some kind of a relationship. So what happens to the trees that grow in gardens and parks? Because the roots are hurt, because the roots are cut, they don't work as a communication system. So the artists are trying to recreate the noises of the normal forest, the shape of this connection and I would probably call it dendra sympathy or dendra empathy, the genre of this work. And the work that I present in this section is also some kind of dendra inquiry and dendra empathy. So the question that started with was, so here is me feeling the wind, but the wind must be felt differently by the tree. And what exactly the wind means for the tree, and what exactly the rain means for the tree, and what are the things that we co-experience with the trees, how are they felt by this completely different entity. And it's not that I have the full and complete answer, but I'd rather have a methodology of approaching to this question, and the methodology would be a tree talker sensor that measures the key physiological points of the trees, such as sap going up the flow and humidity of the trunk, and many others. The garden can be seen as a memory, as something unreachable, something which is placed in the past. And the work by Evgeny Mlatsov focuses on the filming, on the film as a device of memory. What he does, he writes the name of a person probably dead or a person not present. Her name is Yelena Ramus, hence the name of the project. He writes her name on the film with a special bacteria. And another project that fascinates me enormously is a project by Andrei Nosov and Anatol Kachiola. It's called Plantlets. And the project is a contemplation on the incremental browser games that manipulate your attention. So this garden is in a way manipulating your attention, and this is an eternal garden. So once you enter it, the plant, and the plant is made up of the scanned in a very high quality parts of the plants from herbarium of St. Petersburg State University. So this plant made up of the memories of the plant, of the traces of the plant, starts growing, and it doesn't stop growing. But what you can do, you can help it grow if you focus on a certain part of the screen. So there can be very many interpretations. The attention grows, we grow on attention, and just the idea that the garden can be not tended and yet growing is a beautiful fantasy that Anne and Andrei present us with. So I'll probably stop talking and give the word to, who do I give the word to Anne? Am I right?
It's very difficult to stop, right? We have so much beautiful artworks, actually. So yes, let's talk about wandering gardens. Yes, about.
Well, maybe post.
Oh, maybe post not human, right? Yes, yeah. Sure. It's my favorite. I mean,
you can.
Way to explain how plants and humans communicate with each other, and we have special path. We can find more artworks which will describe to you how the relationship between non-human agent and plants and humans exists. And I think that's quite interesting because it's something especially new. It looks like science fantastic, but it's something what's happened now. And what I like in this path very much is that we have artworks in different formats. You can find a game such as Drawn Nature by Denis Protopopov. You can find special virtual spaces in Mozilla Hub and somewhere else. And can I ask Laura tell a couple of words about her work, because I like it so much. And I think the artists can tell always more than we can, because it's originally artists.
Thank you. Yes, sure. So my piece is a collaboration with Ethan Avila, another Mexican artist. And so he's a digital artist, and I'm a biotechnologist that now is venturing in the world of art. So we decide to create something together, and we start from the literature of how the apes evolved to have this mechanism of grasping and to hanging from the branches in the trees. And we notice some kind of correlations with the myths that we have about the evolution of that acquisition of consciousness for men. In this case is that apes have a different optical system that allow them also to be more attracted to red fruits and to detect snakes that has been a predator for them for years in the evolution. So if you already can maybe grasp the idea of what myth I'm talking, it will be the myth of Adam and Eve, where we're talking about the red fruit and the snake. So we decided to create a virtual space, kind of speculative scenario where humans do not care too much anymore about the myths. So we have two robotic entities taking care about the representation of the human consciousness. You can interact with them, you can receive some gift. I'm not gonna give more details so the public can go and play inside our demo and understand a little bit more. I think it's a common question, who we are, when did we get our consciousness, what it means to be conscious. So this is our artwork that is presented in this pathway.
Yeah, and I just want to recommend it for everyone. Just go to our website and try to check it how it for you, because it's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, this part is fascinating because, for example, other work we have from Vladlena Gromova and her team, we have work with special devices, and some of us will wear it during the festival, and we'll see what happens. I don't want to talk about this so much. It's just a secret. I mean, we'll see. Just read the information on the website.
I think we'll talk about it, and I think we'll talk about it in the end after we have worn those. We will say how
Yes,
it
sure.
went.
So there's a reason why everyone needs to visit our final meeting. Just welcome. And what I want to say right now, it's a couple of common words, but why Ars Electronica happens in online right now because of pandemic and how it works. We have some types of artworks, some of them on YouTube, it's video, and it's just video what you can see every moment. I mean, it's still in our channel on YouTube, so you can saw it anytime. We have some preview for streaming, so you can see preview before see the streaming. It's always very nice, and you can see it anytime. The special things that you can find some streaming on our YouTube, and please download the program from our website or from website of Ars Electronica and check the time, because we have two type of program in Moscow time, because we are from St. Petersburg, and in Central European time. So check the time, find the link and go to us, because streaming is always special, because it's something about our identity, it's something about our local identity, it's something about us, and I think it's unique. So just I think that's very important too. And we have some artworks in our website, which is in another way, I mean, games or Mozilla Hub or something else, and do not forget about it. And the other special thing, we have surely public program, which one of the part of it is this video. So you are in our public program finally. And we have some types of activities, and maybe somebody else can tell a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I would love to mention more about our four pathway wandering gardens. I think I also would like to invite Arthur, because this idea came precisely inside the curatorial text, and how, and what Anya was mentioning about being part of St. Petersburg. Why do we have wandering gardens, Arthur?
Okay, this is my favorite part actually. Because I'm not from St. Petersburg, and I live here for 7 years, and I try to understand what kind of city is it, and what's the special site-specific features of this city, and water is the main part of this city, as I understand. And in my opinion, water and underwater gardens, they are also gardens, but usually we don't see them as a gardens. But actually it's an ecosystem which affects all our everyday life, even if we don't think about it much, but actually it affects us. And in this part, it will be kind of happening on board. We ask more scientists and engineers who created the very interesting project. It's Eco Drone, boat drone, which collect data, and it will be a part of Clever City. City will different agents, human and non-human, will be connected in one net, and Eco Drone is a part of this big future net. So on boat will be scientists, as I told, and artists, and we all be in one boat. It's metaphorical and it's true. We all in one boat, scientists and artists. And it's not very common practice for Russia and for St. Petersburg because art and science is a kind of new a new type of activity of artists for our city, and it's kind of experiment. It's kind of happening actually, because there will be not only scientists and artists, but curators and eco activists. And we will talk during our trip. We will discuss different themes about water, about this city, about science and artists, and how can we collaborate with it, how can we communicate with water, with non-human agents, with underwater gardens, and how we affect each other, because not only we affect water, but water affects us also. And I think it could be a very interesting experience. It will be a live stream, and nobody knows actually what can happen. And this is
That's life.
Hopefully we will arrive back.
Yes, for sure, we will write back. And in this part we will talk about different types of gardens, not classical types of gardens as we usually think about them, and about it will be kind of nomadic gardens. For example, Loki project from Vladlena Gromova and Artem Paramonov, they are part of this part. And why? Because it partly will be in Moscow. And through this art project, we connect two cities, St. Petersburg and Moscow. And both cities are parts of Ars Electronica in this year. And this is first time when two Russian cities take part in Ars Electronica. And I think it's very interesting experience also, because we have some not easy communication between Moscow and St. Petersburg. It's local specificity, and we can do something with it also.
So great. We introduced 4 passes of our gardens for everyone. I think it's more or less clear, but you can find it more information on the website, sure. And what else I want to say? Just it was very long process. It was like some months of work for every one of us, and now I can't believe that we are finished almost. It's just the beginner, but it's some result of it, and surely it's not possible without a lot of people. Now it's not like any 4 people make something, but no, it's a crowd of people. We have a lot of volunteers, we have a lot of artists, like more than 30 artists, I can imagine. We have a lot of support team, like a lot of teams who helped us. And I think now the festival starts to be special right now because it's something unexpected to this year to be online on Ars Electronica and talking about gardens and about pandemic situation. But now I think it's a good reflection for all of us. Like we can enjoy all arts which we present in every moment, and we can find something absolutely new in it because it's new format. Yes. So I'm just proud of it that we do it, and I want to congratulate everyone and just tell other people, welcome to Pangardenia, welcome to our website, to our YouTube channel, to our social networks, and just enjoy it because it's really cool.
I agree with the feeling that Anna just mentioned, or the gratitude of all the people that have collaborated with us. And I think we can also notice that in the big amount of lectures and workshops that we have, because a lot of people was eager to share what they were doing.
And some people even do 3 workshops. That's how much they're eager to do.
Yes. We have, for example, Organic Punk that they also share with us their location to record there some parts of the festival, and they are sharing how to make their own automatic garden inside, and how also we have also students from our art and science in ITMO making some poetry with vermiculture and worms. So actually, let me share with you our beautiful website. Of course, we have the English and Russian version. I will go to the English because my Russian is not so good. And here in program, you can find the PDF with all the activities. Somehow you arrive to this opening in our YouTube channel. And well, you can find here a lot of diverse points, workshops, artist talks, artworks, curatorial talks. The time in the English version is for Europe, as my colleague says, and the Russian is Moscow time. We have here a workshop of guide on edible plants. I think that's amazing. It's very useful. We have also collaboration with Skoltech. We will talk about robotics and virtual gardens. And well, you can just click here and you will be redirect to our YouTube channel. We have a streaming of artworks divided by the pathways we just present. And I could talk and talk about all the different persons that collaborate with us, but you see how they wanted to share their artistic point of view about gardens, their artwork. So this is a program for you.
That's right. Yes. I mean, what else? We need to talk a little bit about more. It's maybe about the process. It's just I want to describe it that this was really long way. Like for me, it's very important because it's not so easy. And just a couple of words that yes, this is a long process, and it's still working. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it will be. But I hope that it will be nice.
Well, welcome to this. And as Anya said, now it's officially open, right? Now.
So, welcome to Pangardenia.
Parniki is the Russian term for greenhouses. We grow in artificial spaces. We are isolated, but we are always connected. Everything is connected to something, but nothing is connected to everything. Indoor gardening is a metaphor for self-growing. The mycelium